So hello everyone, welcome to the Secret Not Secret monthly crop for November. This is Daisy. I was one of the secret superheroes for October's crop, and so I get to do this lovely challenge. Unfortunately, I do have to work this weekend, and so I had to pre-record this video because at the time this is going up, I will be sleeping. So unfortunately, I can't participate live. But what my challenge is going to be is to use the art inspiration to create a layout. You can use it however you want. You can be inspired by the colors, the florals, the black background, whatever you want, just so long as you use it as your inspiration. Now, as a bonus, you can earn an extra point if you use your scraps. So what you see me doing here is creating a flower shape using all of my scraps. I went through my scrap box and I pulled out a bunch of different colors that coordinated with the art piece, and I am just randomly cutting out these little blob shapes. And then I'm going to stack them up together and create a flower with them. So I chose to use a few colors. There are going to end up being, I'm working on a yellow flower now. There's orange, red, pink, and teal. And I only make you watch me create one flower on here because it did take a while. So I'm kind of glad I'm not trying to do this live because it did take a while to do all of the flowers. So I'm just cutting them all out, and then I'm going to use some black soot distress ink and the little ink dauber, I think it's Tim Holtz, that I got in my prize pack. And I'm just going to kind of outline the edges. And that's just because I don't want the papers to blend together. So you can see I'm doing that now. Now my distress ink, I have had this is like the first ink pad I ever bought. And I started scrapbooking in 2009. And so I probably bought it sometime 2009, 2010. So they last forever. So I'm just gonna keep going around here, and then the way I'm gonna secure these flowers, you could do them any way you want, but I just figured a staple right through the center would be the easiest. So I'm gonna stack them up and then staple it, and then I saved the littlest piece for the top of the flower, and I'm just gonna use a glue dot and adhere that down to cover the staple. Now I did leave this video a little bit longer, just because, it's a special video, so I figured I could chat with you a little bit, even though you're not actually here. But yeah, so I hope everybody is participating in as many challenges as they can. Last month, I believe there were a total of 20 challenges, and I completed all of them by Sunday night at 9 p.m. Here, which is Central Time, and it was a lot of work. I think it was like 15 layouts and 3 tags or something like that, plus there were some photo challenges, and yeah, it was tons of fun. And luckily I didn't have to work that weekend, and my kids were being pretty self-sufficient, so it worked out really well. I'm excited for next month because I don't have to work during the crop weekend. So I'm excited to be able to participate fully again. So now what I'm doing is I'm going to use a piece of black cardstock as my background, and I'm just going to take 2 colors of texture paste. The first is Heidi Swapp gold texture paste, and I'm just using a palette knife and just scraping it on. And because I haven't put like all the flowers on and everything, I don't know exactly where I'm going with it. So I'm just kind of guessing a few areas where to kind of put this on. Now this is the Tree Huggers pasties texture paste, and I got this from the Spiegel Mom Scrap Shop. And the first time I put it on, it goes a little too thin, and I thought you wouldn't be able to see it very well. So I do go through and thicken it up. But to be honest, it pretty much all gets covered up because I just go a little crazy with flowers. So I cover it all up. But it looks gorgeous until it's covered. So this is a technique you should definitely try out. It works really well on the dark cardstock. I do have some Dazzlers also from Spiegel Mom Scraps, and those are amazing on black cardstock because they are not they are not thin at all, so they really hold their color. So now I'm just going to set this off to the side so it can dry. I was going to try to dry it with my heat gun, but I was too impatient. Nobody has time for that, right? So I'm going to pull out this little pile of scraps, and I was going to try to do something different with these scraps, but really all I'm going to do is I'm going to cut out some leaves. So this first paper is, I have been hoarding like these scraps for like ever and ever and ever. I don't know who created this paper. It's pretty old. On one side it had like hot pink dandelions on it, but it's this beautiful kind of gold pearlescent paper, and I am just cutting out a bunch of leaves. And I felt like that went really well with the inspiration piece, which you can see up in the left hand corner of my desk there. There's kind of, I mean, it could be gold in real life, but it looks kind of brownish on the photo. So I just wanted to pull some of that color in. And this paper is actually perfect for that. The end product, it looks really good. So I'm just kind of roughly cutting out some different kinds of leaves. I don't want everything to look the same, which being hand cut, it's not going to look the same anyway, even if I really wanted it to, because I'm, really not that good at cutting stuff out. So I think it's just I'm too impatient. Cutting is just fussy cutting. You should definitely leave down in the comments below. Are you a fussy cutter? I don't have the patience for it. Like, I will do some bigger things, but the little itty bitty like intricate things, oh my goodness, I can't. I just can't. I can't focus for that long. It's painful. I did actually buy a I think it's called a pick scan mat for my silhouette portrait, in which you can take a picture of the paper or of whatever you want to cut out, and then you put it on your mat and you load it into your computer, the picture into your computer, and it sets the registration marks, and so you can cut it out. I did try that a couple of times and it works pretty well. I'm going to try it again because I tried it when I first got it back in May, and I haven't tried it since. But I've gotten better at lining up my cutting mat in my silhouette portrait. So if you don't know, a silhouette portrait is a silhouette, but it is an 8.5 by 12 size cutter instead of a 12 by 12. I couldn't afford to get a bigger one. This one, like the whole set and everything that I got with it, I think it came to like $100 versus the silhouette cameo that I was looking at was like $200. So this was definitely a better answer, and it fits on my desk nicely and it works out pretty well. I just can't cut the full 12 by 12 background kind of cuts, but that's fine. I'm okay with that. So I'm still cutting. I switched to this paper, which I believe is an Amy Tangerine paper. I'm not 100% sure on that. It might be Maggie Holmes. It's just a little scrap that I had, and I thought it would be nice to add some different color leaves in there. So I'm cutting kind of out of the green and the like teal color. This was like that paper where it had like kind of bokeh spots on it. And then it was green and pink and white and teal. So I'm just picking around some of the colors here. And I kind of wish I had inked around the edges of the leaves too, but I didn't think about it until I had already glued them down, and then it was too late, so whatever, it's fine. So this picture I'm going to use is just a pretty picture of my daughter. Of course it's Snapchat because that's the only pretty pictures of my daughter I get. And yeah, she's so beautiful. I just can't help myself. I just keep scrapping all the Snapchat pictures, so I'm just going to back this with some layers of vellum, and these are again scraps that I have, and I am just putting, I think there's like 2 or 3 layers underneath it because I didn't have a big enough scrap piece that would fit the whole photo, so I just kind of piece it together a little bit there. And I just use my ATG to do that. And pretty soon here, you're going to see all of my beautiful flowers that I created. But of course, I have to line this up just right, even though it doesn't really matter. Does anybody else do that? Like you focus on kind of weird things that you get all like, it has to be perfect. It has to be just right. I have to get it in just the right spot. And then it doesn't really matter. Like in the end, who cares, right? So I'm just bringing this background back, and I'm going to try to dry these, and it just is not drying fast enough for me. So I do take a little break here in a second. And then I'm going to come back and magically it's all dry. So you can see I really like how the green looks with the gold, and yeah, I'm going to cover it all up. So here I'm bringing in all the flowers that I have made. And like I said, I made all the other ones off camera. Excuse me. Just because it does take some time to cut all the papers out and decide what colors I want to use. I do end up using some papers out of some of my scraps from my September Secret Not Secret kit. And so at the upper right, there's that pink flower, and the pink stripe on it is from that kit, and the pink polka dot on the bottom is from that kit. And then I end up bringing in an orange flower a little bit further down, just because I wasn't sure about my layout yet, so I do end up adding 2 more flowers than what you see here. And on my orange flower, there are 2 papers that are from my October kit. But I haven't used my October kit a lot, so I didn't want to cut into full sheets for this because I really just wanted to use my scraps. So I just used what I had used already and just used the scraps. So I'm just playing around with this, trying to figure out how I'm going to do the leaves and how I want to lay out all the flowers and everything. And it does change slightly from what you see here, but this is pretty much the general layout of the flowers. I decided to put that big teal one. I know teal wasn't really in the inspiration piece, but there was that blue color, and I don't have a lot of that, so I decided to do kind of the teal turquoise combination. And I put that teal one in the middle, and that's the biggest flower, and I chose to put it there because that's where I'm going to end up putting my title. So I'm just layering some stuff, which is funny because I'm, painstakingly putting all this stuff around, and then I'm going to take it all off and forget where it was and redo it all. But I'm not going to make you watch that because I put it back on as I'm adhering stuff, and I don't make you watch me gluing stuff down because that's boring. Nobody wants to watch that. So I'm just going to keep layering around. And around this point is when I realize, on the left side of that photo, it's really kind of boring. There's not enough stuff over there. I was thinking maybe I could stick my title there, but couldn't decide. So I pause the video, start gluing stuff down, and then I decide I need more flowers. And that's what's going to fix this is more flowers. So movie magic, there you go. I have 2 more flowers. I added in that orange one that's on the right side and that teal one that's on the left side. I moved the red one over to the left side as well, and then I'm using these champagne sequins. These are ones that I got at Hobby Lobby. They were on sale and they are beautiful. And I felt like they gave kind of just enough sparkle and texture and everything, and they're just the right amount to add. And of course, you know, a layout isn't done until there's sequins on it. So I did pop my photo up on some fun foam, and I decided to have it on top of the flowers and not kind of layered into the flowers, because I felt like you were losing the photo there, and I didn't want that to happen. Like the photo is supposed to be the, you know, main focal point of the layout. So I don't know why I'm making you watch me adhere sequins down. That's terrible. But anyway, I'm going to bring in these gold matte thickers, foam thickers. They are the Creek thickers that I believe were made to go with the Creekside One Canoe 2 collection. And I'm just going to title this My Girl. I was going to try to do something like Stunning or Gorgeous or something like that, but I didn't have enough letters. So I end up going with My Girl, which fits perfectly on that flower. And I think it just really is the perfect title for this layout. So again, the challenge is to use that inspiration piece, which I'll show again at the end here. And you get an extra point if you use scraps. You don't have to use as many scraps as I used, but you have to use some scraps. So I really look forward to seeing everybody's creations this weekend. So yeah, I will see you again next time. Thanks for watching, and bye.